All of us have a story to tell, don't we? It's closed in our hearts. We at VirtueTech today need you to open up and let it out. At this time, we want to hear from the women in the information technology industry. Speak about your journey. Where all have you been? Speak about your people. Who are the main characters of your story? Speak about our technology. What do you love the most? It's about our world that we share together. Most fast paced, most agile, most modern world of data technology. We are joined by Garima Gupta. Garima is the director of marketing analytics at Remitly. She is one among the seven siblings, all sisters. She has done MS in business analytics from the University of Texas. Along her journey, she has convinced many stakeholders to invest in data sciences and business analytics projects and initiatives, and she achieved the results for them. A great advocate and a proven player in the field of business analytics, we want to hear from Garima herself. How does she do it so well? The tech world is very big, Garima, from music to machines. There is technology and information technology everywhere. How did you choose data analytics? What all went into your decision of choosing data analytics?
Thank you for the question, Bhakti. Um, I would start with some journeys are very unplanned. I didn't actually plan to join the field of data science and analytics. Um, I'm actually an electrical engineer. I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering, and since then I joined Sapient as a software engineer. But I didn't know that what I'm going to do, but I knew that I didn't like these two disciplines much. My heart wasn't there. Um, After my marriage, I actually had to start or join a master's program in US, and my husband, he was actually doing his PhD in McCombs School of Business, UT Austin, and he stumbled upon this program that college was planning to start, and we just looked through it, researched through the program, and it looks like very interesting because it required problem solving. It needed some coding, which I loved as well. So I said, okay, let's give it a try. It was a 10 months program, but it was very fascinating to me to see the power of data in solving a problem or looking at things that's blind to human eye. And I just fell in love with that. And since then, I pursued this path, and rest is history now.
Awesome. I must appreciate the fact that your husband gave you such a seminal, that was such a seminal step in your career in the early days. So, uh, Garima, you are the director of marketing analysis in Remitly, which is a very significant organization. When people look, I'm sure so many young girls look up to you. Can you tell us about your journey, your steps to reach where you are today?
Wow, that's a good question. It takes me back to old memories. My journey has been like full of ups and downs, lot of learnings, a lot of mistakes. But at the end, what hold me sane and what actually led to the success of where I am today is that drive, that ambition, that passion to do something to make an impact of my own. And I think it's blessings from my parents and for my closer ones that pushed me to, overcome all the hurdles that came in the way. Um, my journey of going into or building a career, I think it was started since my childhood because we come from a family of seven sisters and we are like middle class family. And I was so glad, I'm so proud of my parents focusing on education of all my sisters and myself as well. And started from there, that the seed of being ambitious and not thinking through hurdles to build your career, it started since my childhood. since then, like, I was always focused, and I was always trying to achieve, to make something of my own. And but at the same time, I didn't know actually which path I need to take it. So I call it like a backward elimination process. I keep on trying new things and seeing if it is working for me or it's not. If it is not working for me, then I push to try something new, uh, and see if that works for me. It actually helps me to experience a lot of things, use that experience into my new role, and knock on wood, it wasn't that bad. I did turn out that bad to have those experience and actually helped me to who I am today. Um, I'm woman also, and I wouldn't deny the fact that uh, society did make my path easier through my career journey as well. But
Sure.
at the same time, I was grew up with the mindset of that you are strong as an individual. Don't see yourself through a lens of gender, and that's something stuck with me since childhood. So yes, I have faced a lot of challenges as a woman in my career path, in my personal life. But I think I saw that as a common challenge that would come across in any other's life and try to handle that accordingly.
Awesome, awesome. So, unconsciously, we inherit and we learn a lot of things from our parents, the way they behave, the way they talk. So, I can really see through your words, and I can really see that your upbringing has built you up. Garima, as a aware, educated, responsible citizen, this is an inevitable question. How does COVID and Ukraine war and such big historical global events that we are witnessing in our lifetime play out in the field of data analytics and data technology?
That's a good question. I mean, it's unfortunate that we are living in a world when we have to witness these events. Um, and I'm really not proud to say, but these events have made the field of data science and data analytics more popular than it ever was. Um,
Interesting.
take, take an example of COVID. Uh, when I'm glad that we have vaccine now and it has saved the world. Otherwise, we were not seeing the end of COVID. But if you study through the journey of like discovery of vaccine, generally it takes more than 10 years to invent a vaccine or to discover a vaccine for something as big as like COVID. But this time, our researchers were very fast to find the cure of it, to find the vaccine of it. And if you read through the journey through it, they had to sift through so many research papers, so many discoveries, um, to see what works, what doesn't work. And if you have uh, read through those papers, they have used techniques like NLP, they have used like data mining so that they can quickly gain insights from all those research papers, all those discoveries, all reading through the symptoms across the world. It was a very large scale data to sift through, to mine, and get an insight that actually works. And precision was the key here. There was very less room for being a false positive. And this was all possible because we have now these data science and data analytics techniques to read through these data at large scale with velocity and generate insights. Um, it has data science analytics, it has contributed, it has helped researchers, scientists to solve these problems more quickly than it ever was. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not proud that it has made the data science fields more popular and more as a hot field these days because of these big problems have happened. But I mean, it's truth. Data science has helped world to solve these problems much more faster and much more quickly. Um, which now I think it has made this field very hot, and everyone wants to join it.
Sure. Um, Maybe repetitive, but very relevant and required question. There are unconscious biases and stereotypes associated with genders in our corporate world, in the tech industry, in every phase of life. So Have you faced these kind of biases or this kind of effect, whether whatever nature they would have been? Can you talk about that? Because you are a woman, you had to face something at your workplace. Can you talk about that?
Sure. As I shared before that, though I grew up a mindset of being an individual, I couldn't deny the fact that I'm living in a society where women doesn't have a leveling playing field, especially in terms of building up the career. Yes, I faced those issues. It started with, I would say, schooling, or it's when I was preparing to get into the field of like engineering. Um, I had to face eve teasing while going on bus to coachings. I had when I joined and when I entered into corporate world, I had to face the situation when I was scared to stay late for the work purposes because I didn't know what will happen, how I'll go back to home. Is it even safe to travel at night? I had to face the situation when I couldn't socialize with our male bosses and it delayed my promotion. Not said that it is necessary or socializing is bad or networking is bad, but in India, especially talking about in India, there is hesitation or there is what I could call as it's not very easy to do so. Um, I face those issues, but what I would call is that these were not the hurdles that couldn't have or were difficult to overcome. They were difficult, but yes, if you have the right mindset and if you accept the truth that yes, your path is not as straightforward as some of other gender counterpart is, you can find solutions to those. But I would say my biggest challenge that was created, I would say by myself, was um, fear of not speaking up, fear of not asking things, constantly thinking to prove myself no matter what level I was. I think that was the biggest challenge in general. We women create ourselves because we think we are less of people or we think that we are less of others. And that is something stops us to move forward. So
Right.
yes, I do face the challenges that I didn't intend to and society gave me because I was a woman. But there were also challenges which was unconscious, but it was created by myself as well. Um, because I was thinking less of me, which I shouldn't. Over,
Continuing with, sorry, Garima, go on.
I was saying that overcoming latter was much more difficult than the first one.
Okay. Okay, interesting. So continuing with that, Garima, if there was one thing that you wanted the young girls and the returning women, women returning to career, and all the ladies out there, if there was one single thing that you wanted them to have to ensure, what would that be?
Um, Stop having fear and stop trying to prove yourself.
Right.
I am really, women are very empathetic, could be very empathetic leader. They are very hardworking, they are very tenacious. There is even not a single point. I mean, yes, everyone needs an improvement areas, and it is true irrespective of gender or any other differences. But women, I have seen it that no matter how talented they are, they always feel like, or they always have that self doubt. They always think, do I deserve this or not? Or should I ask this question or not? Or how I would be judged? These things stop themselves to move forward and to really grow it. I would recommend or I would advise to anyone, and especially women, take risk. Don't fear to ask. Don't fear to fail. Remove those fears. Um, yes, you work hard to prove yourself, but don't have self doubts at every point of time. If you have achieved a certain level, please know and be confident that you deserve that. That's why someone gave you. It's a very, I would say, transactional and brutal society. Nobody is going to give you anything unless you ask and unless you deserve it. So if you have achieved something, be confident and be proud of it, and then aim higher from there. So my advice will be stop fearing, stop self doubting, work hard, but at the same time, be proud of what you have achieved.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. I think that's really good. That's really good takeaway. Garima, can you talk about interesting data analytics projects that you have done along your way?
Wow. Yes. I've done several interesting projects. Um, each one was very different in nature. Worked across like I guess 7 industries and 7 domains now, and each had a very unique problem to solve through data. I'll take an example of an airline industry I worked with few years before. I don't know how long it was, but few years before. I was actually an individual contributor and not a leader or manager. So there was an interesting problem which was given to me that there was a customer segment which we wanted badly to gain their loyalty, but they were loyal to other airlines. So when they flew on us, they literally bought high yield tickets and high price tickets, but they flew very less frequently on us. So we really wanted to gain their loyalty. We have been running several campaigns to target those, but those campaigns were not leading to the results that we were desiring. So I said, okay, what we can do for it. That's where I started looking at the data that we have for those customers, just trying to understand who they are, what they want, what would lure them to be loyal to us, are they flying on other airlines or not. A lot of those analysis, did some research, understand from our business teams what is their experience with these customers, and just came up with a solution of starting a subscription program of miles for the first ever for this airline in not industry, but for this airline, where we gave an offer that if you fly for us and if you pay a small subscription fee, and you can get more miles than you were earning before or on any other airline. It was I think a 2 month project which involved a lot of analysis, a lot of research, talking to people, but at the same time packaging them into a story, because I need to convince several leadership across different teams to get their buy-in to launch this program. So it was a good 2 months run, and I was able to convince, I guess, 11 leaders at that time, just through the data storytelling and showing um, um, uh, what we can do or generate profit from this program. And it got launched as well. I was not there to see the results because I moved on to some other role, but I see that as a very winning and success story when you combine your business acumen to your data skills a lot. And if you have a good data storytelling, then you can actually, generate an idea through data. I'll say that this is a common consensus that data helps make an idea better, but it doesn't generate a new idea. I kind of partially disagree with that. If you have a right skill set, both on the business acumen side as well as data skills, you can actually create interesting and new great ideas for your company or for your organization.
So to hear a story right from the inception of the idea to convincing stakeholders and then to implement it and then to get results out of it is very inspiring, and it makes a lot of sense into what we are doing now. So thank you for sharing that story. Um, Garima, you have worked in American Airlines, like you just said, uh, with the legacy systems, very strong legacy systems, databases. Then you worked with Facebook, with most modern, ultra modern. Actually, Facebook is ahead of its time in terms of technology and responsiveness, and it has explosive data volumes and all kinds of B2C data. Like it could be having the world's greatest B2C setup. And then now you're in Remitly. So you have seen different kinds of worlds with respect to data analytics and business analytics. So how was it transitioning from one kind of environment to other kind of environment, and what kind of common thread did you see along, and how are they different and how are they similar?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had this privilege of experiencing a range of uh, companies which were in a different level of maturity, whether it's tech stack, whether it's how things are done, or even the cultural things were very different. I started with more traditional and big companies to start with, where I think there was more focus on solving a business problem, or the business problem itself, whether like how do we solve it. It was, I call it like more of a cruise ship when we were trying to solve a problem, but there was not a rush to solve it as quickly as possible with a modern tech stack. But still, there was a good, I would say, analysis behind solving those problems. Tech stack was not as modern as you will see in today's company. Things are changing now, but again, there's more biases towards like, okay, this is a problem, how do we solve it, versus focusing more on the tech stack. Versus when I joined companies like Facebook, now called Meta, and that was also big, large in nature. I think I had to pivot that mindset and brush up my skills in the modern tech stack or the modern tools that is being used in data science and analysis. Also learning like new languages, was also learning to new skills to solve those problems, because there was another change in mindset needs to happen, that I need to move fast. So I do that comparison of like cruise ship versus speedboat. When our destination is same probably, but there is a need to move faster in modern tech companies versus traditional big companies. So that was a key difference. But then I also had the opportunity to work in a startup, which was like kind of between, in from tech stack perspective, it was between a traditional versus a modern tech companies like Meta. And startup is a different world. It's a very different environment to work with, when there is not set defined platform to work on, set defined process to work on. And you have all the autonomy to define things, to define the tech stack, see how it will work or not. So that was an interesting part of my career journey. I learned a lot of things. It definitely challenged me to increase my knowledge in the industry, or think from a very different lens when it comes to data science analysis or data science industry, and try to bring knowledge from different organization or different experience to build something that you'll be accountable for. So that building part and that autonomy part was very different that I experienced in startup as compared to other big companies I work with.
Right, wonderful. So it's about our personal adaptability to changing environments and understanding and then blending in it, yet creating value. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
So, Garima, how do we balance personal life and professional life? Because sky is the limit. You can keep working and achieving great heights and doing new things. How do you balance it with your personal well-being, your family, your home? Can you talk about that?
Sure. I'm glad we're having this podcast now, because if we have met, like 7, 8 months before, I think I was a different person who didn't understand or realize importance of work-life balance. Uh, I used to work like 16, 18 hours every day
Amazing.
over
Sounds
weekend.
like that.
Yeah, it's like over weekends. And I think I would confess, in a way, also kind of glorified that, because I feel like if you're ambitious, this was in my mindset that if you're ambitious, yes, you have to work hard, you have to work really hard to create your own differentiator factor. But I was wrong. I was really wrong. I'm glad I've realized this before burning all my candles now, but I have realized the fact that for us to be productive, whether at personal life or at work, it is very important that your mental and your physical health is intact. And vice versa is not true. it doesn't work that way, that if you're productive, your career is going well, then you achieve happiness in your personal life, or you'll be happy, or your mental and physical health will be intact. It is actually not true. There was a point in my career, which is very recent one, when I was in a leadership role, and I take that my job very seriously. And I personally believe that when you are a leader, there are people depending on you. There is a team who relies on your decision making. And when you are burnt out, you don't have enough mental capacity to be able to make right decisions and quick decisions. That was an expectation of the role. And I started feeling that I was doing injustice to my role. And that was a point when I had a conversation with my manager that I need a break. And I'm so glad that everyone was so supportive of it. And I literally took a 2 month break. During that 2 months, I spent time with my family. I focused on myself. I joined meditation classes, just to get to a point when I can think very clearly. And it was missing before. Since then, I do see, I mean, people say that I do see change in you. You can think clearly, you are able to make the decisions more impactfully. Um, and right now, I make sure I'm still show the same sincerity at work, but I have carved out time for my own mental and physical health being, making sure that I relate or I connect to my relationships and to my family. There's a dedicated time allocated now, which wasn't the case before. And I think I'm doing well. I'm still doing well in my career. It's not that I'm lagging behind now. This is something I would recommend to everyone. Before things go worse, I don't want to be in a situation that I have to take that long break again, versus how we include that work life balance in our day to day work, to avoid the situations on going into a long break right now. It's very important.
There is a lot to learn from your story, what you just shared with us. I am so glad that we could talk about it, because many of us think that working incessantly is the way to go. It's okay to work, just keep working, working, working. So thank you for sharing that story. Um, Garima, what is the secret quality within yourself that you like the most?
Interesting. I
Yeah.
think I had a weakness before that I think has turned into, call it, quality or strength. It sounds repetitive again. It's been not being afraid of things. I used
Awesome.
to be a lot. Was avoiding risk, and I was scared of speaking up. I was scared of asking questions. I was scared of demanding things, which I deserve. Today, I'm not. Whether it's work or whether it's in my personal life, I think I've trained my mindset that it is okay to fail, but it is not okay to not try. And we generally not try because we are scared of something, either being judged, either being denied if you ask something. And I've trained myself that it is okay to receive that treatment which is not expected, but not be scared or not be afraid of anything. I mean, of course, like it's not that I go rogue and do things. It's a very different definition of not being scared. Um, but I do feel like that is my quality. People have also appreciated that. That gives me a strength to, challenge status quo and help my own leaders to make a decision, um, which they could have taken it otherwise if someone wouldn't have asked them the questions, because they were scared. So I do see that as my, I don't know if it's a secret quality or not, because people do acknowledge it, but I've seen myself changing in a spectrum of fear to a position when I'm comfortable of not being scared of things.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm sure that there is a lot to learn and get inspired by what you actually realized, and then you practice, and then you achieve results out of that. It was great talking to you, Garima, and I really thank you for sharing your story with us. And I hope we are in touch, and have a nice
Sure.
day today.
Sure. Thank you so much, Bhakti, for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you.